Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Maryland Risk Management Education Podcast. My name is Paul Gehringer, and I'm the Extension Legal Specialist here in the Department of Ag and Resource Economics. And today we don't have a guest. It's still back to me reading posts to you and talking to you about issues. So today I want to talk to you about, and I recognize for this post and this episode, the time has already passed that the Maryland Department of Agriculture is taking comments. But the one thing I wanted to bring up with this is just to make you aware, and it's not something that could have been changed in the comment period anyway. It's, as we're going to talk about, it's based around federal law, is to sort of to start talking about how the testing process for hemp is going to change under the 2018 Farm Bill for those that have grown it under the 2014 Farm Bill. So let's talk a little bit about, what Maryland's plan is. And we're really not going to focus in on the details of it. We're going to talk more about this testing part. So on July 6, 2020, the Maryland Department of Ag released the proposed hemp plan required under the 2018 Farm Bill to allow for more hemp production in the state. The 2014 Farm Bill opened the door to limited hemp production, and several Maryland growers have participated in the state's pilot research program for the past 2 years. With this move towards a hemp production plan, Maryland growers need to pay attention to the changes between the two programs. One of the most significant changes will be the definitions of what is considered hemp, not only in the state, but in the country. While the 2014 Farm Bill focused on hemp containing less than 0.3% Delta-9 THC on a dry weight basis, the 2018 Farm Bill will look at a total concentration of THC less than 0.3% on a dry weight basis. These regulations, once finalized, will go into effect probably around November 1st, because that's when the 2014 program will go away and we'll have to start falling under the 2018 Farm Bill program. And the state will move away from that pilot research program regulation. So let's just lay out a little bit about what the 2014 Farm Bill does. Maryland is currently operating under the 2014 Farm Bill's pilot research program for hemp. Under this law, the definition of industrial hemp required the plant to have less than 0.3% Delta-9 THC on a dry weight basis. The current regulations for Maryland's pilot research program require hemp grown in the state to test with Delta-9 concentrations below 0.3% on a dry weight basis. Hemp testing higher than 0.3% of Delta-9 THC on a dry weight basis would be considered marijuana and would have to be destroyed, as is the case for any state operating under the 2014 Farm Bill. What we're going to see as we move into the 28 Farm Bill is the testing provisions will change. It may not look like it changes, and I'll talk about that, but it does change. With the 2018 Farm Bill testing rules moving from that pilot research program for hemp production in the United States, Maryland's proposed definition would be similar to the 2014 Farm Bill. Still, this definition might not be what it seems. The proposed definition is the plant Cannabis sativa L, and any part of the plant containing all derivatives, extracts, cannabinoids, isomers, acids, salts of isomers, whether grown or not, with a Delta-9 THC concentration that does not exceed 0.3 on a dry weight basis. We need to read further to kind of get a sense of what that means, because we may be seeing the same language, but it doesn't actually mean the same thing. Looking at the testing provisions in the proposed hemp rule, the THC test to determine Delta-9 THC concentrations on a dry weight basis requires testing procedures using this post-decarboxylation or other similar methods. These procedures will measure the total available THC, which is a sum of Delta-9 THC and THCA. THCA is the acid form of THC and has no psychoactive properties, but can easily be converted to THC. This decarboxylation method converts THCA into Delta-9. According to USDA's interim final rule released on October 31st, 2019, the 2018 Farm Bill requires this testing method to determine total THC concentration and not just Delta-9 THC. concentration. So under our proposed plan, hemp grown in the state must not only have less than 0.3% delta 9 THC on a dry weight basis, but the hemp must also contain THC equal or less than zero point 0.3 post decarboxylated THC. This is an extra layer which growers need to be aware of moving into 2021. This is dramatically, probably for some growers, going to change when they harvest, just to make sure that that THC level stays under the 0.3%. And I need to say there is an adjustment made in here, a measure of uncertainty, but I'm not going to talk about that in this. So there is a measure of uncertainty still factored into all this, but I'm just not factoring it into my discussion of it. We'll do more once that comes out. I just want people to be aware of this change. So what does this mean for you? You might have participated in the pilot research program, and many of the areas in the proposed rule might look similar to you. Some of the fees may have gone up. Other things will probably look fairly similar with a few differences. That one significant change is going to be what's considered hemp and what isn't. Although the definition may not read the same as before, or although the definition may read the same as before, although the definition of hemp may read the same as before, it is worth paying attention to not just the state regulations, but the federal law and federal regulations driving all this. If you had experience growing hemp under the previous regulations, this change might mean that you have to adjust how you harvest hemp to keep total THC levels within allowable ranges. You had until August 5th to make the comments on this. This podcast is coming out a little bit after August 5th, so you will not be able to do that. But if you want to look at them, I'm going to include the proposed regs in the show notes, so you can go out and find those. If you have any questions on anything I just talked about, please email me at lgoering@umd.edu, or you can tweet me at aglawpaul. Thank you again for listening, and enjoy the rest of your day.